Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Chatbox Business Breakfast Show. It's December the 8th, and if you're anywhere near the UK, you now know that winter is here. Looking out my window, mate, I can see frost aplenty. All the cars are frozen up, the heating's on. Cost of living crisis is seriously going to start biting now, because I put my heating on and I've set it to stay on. Hey, check that out, right? I must be feeling very generous, but really chilly this morning. How you doing, my friend?
I'm very well. Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in at this time in the morning on this cold and frosty morning. But I'm doing very well. Nick, you've obviously got too much money if your heating's permanently on in this cost of living crisis. You've ramped the heating up and you're not going to turn it off, but you'll be lovely and warm, of course.
Really cold.
But yeah, no, it is cold. I'm sitting up here. I'm in Milton Keynes. We'll talk more about that why I'm here. And I'm peering out of my hotel window, and there's a gentleman out there de-icing his car at the moment, giving it a good spray. And he looks pretty chilly. So yeah, -3 here in Milton Keynes at the moment. So you're in Milton Keynes. Good morning to you. You're waking up to a cold and frosty morning as well.
Very important day today, 8th of December. Happy birthday, Mum. Mum's birthday today, mate. Looking forward to seeing everyone over the weekend. But happy birthday!
Happy birthday! Hopefully,
also gave a card. Right, this isn't me being a cheapskate and say instead of a card. All right, I've done a card and everything. Okay, but happy birthday, Mum.
Happy birthday! Hopefully, you'll be spoilt by your children today. Hey, Nick, presents, cards. Bit of baking, maybe afternoon tea.
Oh yeah, if there would be, if I hadn't had to put the heating on, there'd be all sorts of lovely things. But no, I've had to put the heating on instead.
That's going to cover the cost, of course. We'll bring your mum round for a warm up and maybe a slice of cake and a nice cup of tea that you can obviously make for her. So as we look at the headlines this week, we say this every week. We look at the papers and it gets tough to kind of dig through the papers, see what's of interest there, what's happening in the world. And every time I kind of have a bit of a flick through them virtually, it's all doom and gloom. There's nothing exciting. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you was to dive into the small print towards the back, there might be something that might catch my eye. But the headlines are just not good reading at the moment. But I've picked 3 papers out this morning to have a quick browse at. Let's start with the Times. Christmas flights hit by airport walkouts is the big headline on here today. Let's have a look at the Daily Telegraph. Army furious, soldiers ordered to give up Christmas over strikes. And finally, Daily Mail. It's beginning to look a lot like Xmas general strikes. Festive season in chaos as airport staff join rail, road and ambulance walkout. Now, what do you make of this, Nick? I'm sure it's not a soapbox moment, but what's your opinion on these strikes?
Not ideal, is it? Right, when the country's in struggling, and then you add a load of chaos on top of that. 2 kind of sides. You think, well, we live in a democracy. Everyone has a right to kind of protest, and strike is one form of protest. And if things are bad, that may make things better. But I'm starting to lose sympathy. We're going to run businesses, trying to recover from COVID. Times are tough, right? My events business, thank goodness we survived 2 years of blooming lockdowns. Back in business, up come the strikes. Everything next week is cancelled. Right? This is a massive blow to any business that has stuff planned, now cancelled because of the strikes. Right? We can't make a difference to your issues, right? We're just trying to get on with our business, but you are damaging our business in the process. I guess it's collateral damage. I'm starting to lose sympathy because it's getting in the way of trying to get on with stuff. I'm absolutely behind the nurses because I don't think they're paid anywhere near enough for the work they do, even though no doubt there'll be massive amounts of inconvenience for those people that have things that I've been waiting for that are now postponed. But I'm probably, like a lot of people, losing a certain level of sympathy, especially when we're absolutely surrounded by strikes. A lot of unrest. out there, and it's getting in the way of trying to live your life.
I think that people are getting more and more frustrated. Travel, we're having to change our plans. It could be social stuff as well, but we'll come back to the small business, but how it affects small business. But it could be social stuff. It could be you're going up to London next week for a day out, taking your mum for afternoon tea at the Ritz or something like that, and you can't get there anymore, so you've got to cancel it, postpone it. You could lose money. Individuals, could be impacted. Now, I get there's a bigger thing at play here. I get these individuals, these hard workers. I wouldn't want to be a nurse or a doctor, an ambulance driver. I know they work hard and long hours, and I don't think they are paid enough. But is this the way to deal with this? If this was in a business, a small, medium-sized business, and all your workers went on strike, I think there'd be firings left, right, and centre. There wouldn't be, let's stand on the picket line. I think it would be, look, you've got a choice. And of course, these people do have choice as well. So the problem is it impacts small business, and that's everybody gets impacted. You and I, as you've just mentioned, Nick, next week, you've had every event cancelled. I've got meetings next week that I won't be able to make. I suppose the only good thing that's come from all the kind of the pandemic is that we've learned to be more virtual. We've learned to innovate using digital technology. Links very neatly into today's show. So I don't think this strike impact is having the impact it used to have, either pre-pandemic, because pre-pandemic, when there was a strike, no one thought about jumping on a Zoom or a Teams call and continuing what they do. Yes, certain stuff would happen on a phone call, but meetings would get cancelled and that's it. I think now people are learning and just jumping into the online digital environment and making their business work there as well. So the impact, I think, is a lot less than it has ever been. But
unless, of course, you run a pub in London and have, every Christmas party is now cancelled, or a hotel, or an events business, and the digital innovation part, which it's saved our bacon, right? It was forced upon us, but got us out of trouble for sure. Okay, yeah. And this the same, right? This was born, this digital innovation that we are now part of was born because of that. And Debbie Gilbert's absolutely right. It's going to cause more businesses to go under, right? Because some businesses simply cannot just transform into a digital version.
Yeah. And I think that's the problem we see here. Look, times, let's not paper over the cracks, put plasters on things that are just going to cover it up for a little while. Times are tough, for all businesses, all organizations, charities. Everyone is feeling the effects of, the back end of COVID, the back end of Brexit, the energy cost increases. Everything is affecting business. And this is just making it worse. And you're right, as Debbie's just, highlighted there, it will cause more businesses to go under. They're already the retail, the high street, where people might go to London or other cities, other towns. People won't be able to travel, not as freely. And of course, on top of this, I was on a call last week, and without going into too much detail, but about bringing into the Cambridgeshire area in Cambridge, about putting into place it's not a congestion charge. It's not an environmental charge, it's sustainability. So they're trying to stop people using their cars full stop. It's not being enforced yet. It's going to cost businesses a minimum of £1,800 a year per vehicle. And if you live in the Cambridgeshire area, in Cambridge, in this catchment area, and you have a car outside your house, £5 a day. No discount for being a resident. So all of a sudden, it's like a stealth tax. You've got 2 cars, £3,500 extra a year you've got to find just to have your car available to you. Because they want people to use public transport. They want people to cycle and stuff like that. I get it. We need to do this stuff.
Unless the bloody public transport go on strike, then what are you going to do?
Yeah, the impact is huge. So I just think at the end of the day, we've got to be realistic. World has changed. The way we do business is developed for the better as well. But we need these facilities. I just feel that we need to modernize the way people put their hand up and say, look, we're not earning enough. And I agree, you're not. We all need more money. We all need a better lifestyle. But there's ways around doing it.
Yeah, I'm frustrated. Not the only one who's frustrated. Morning to Adam. Hi, Adam. Nothing really can replace that proper face-to-face meeting. I know we've got replacements that I agree with you, Adam. I don't think they're the same, as a very human-centric face-to-face meeting. And Debbie's put another comment. Some things you simply cannot move online. Some work really well online. Other things not so well. And if the plan is, and Debbie's event in London tomorrow is clearly a face-to-face event, if suddenly people can't come, then we've got a real struggle. That's a big dent in your business pocket if suddenly that can't happen.
I mean, let's go back to, we've got our first guest sitting backstage, eager and keen to come on and probably share his opinions and views as well. But let's look at this digital innovation, because this morning is about that. Now, lots of us have innovated our businesses over the past years, some because we were forced to do so, like COVID has made us kind of adapt and change. And I think, this digital innovation has been good for business. I think it's made us look at other ways that we can communicate. I'm not going to use the word better because I know you'll come back on me on that, Nick, because, communication is so important in our business, but it allows us to communicate when other methods may not work as well. But for me, bringing things online has added, a really good reason to do business online. So I'm going to use this as an example. Tomorrow, which is Friday the 9th, Federation of Small Business, as you know, I wear a hat for that. We're running our fourth in a series of our national networking, or our big networking events. So I'm just going to put the social card up here. Here it is, big networking for small businesses, Friday the 9th of December, 10 to 11:30 a.m. Myself and Pauline Weddell are hosting the amazing event. We've got a great guest joining us, Max McMurdo, who is a TV presenter and a designer and entrepreneur. Now, he's coming on the show tomorrow to share some of his stories as a small business owner. But we wouldn't be able to do this in the past if we didn't have the likes of Zoom and Teams. So I think there's been good innovation. That would have been conference style, all come together, but you wouldn't have gone there for an hour and a half. You would have gone there for a day. That's a day out of your business, and the impact becomes, even more dramatic. So some things work well digitally, but it's not a replacement, as we were just seeing, for face-to-face. I love face-to-face. Makes life so much simpler.
Yeah, and those events, those FSB events, hundreds of people, well coordinated into plenty of conversations, and it's good networking, right? You get to meet a load of people that you've never met before, and in the grand scheme of things, an email that's low end communication, right? Better than that, pick up the phone. Better than that, jump on a face-to-face Zoom style call. Better than that, go and have a coffee together. Right. So this isn't bad, right? As far as communication goes, it's not the best, but it isn't bad. At least we can see and hear each other. But it's not a replacement for those crucial conversations that you need to have with smaller numbers. But yeah, you get hundreds of people into a networking event. Awesome, mate. And you and Pauline, you're a force to be reckoned with. You two, it's an awesome show.
It's going to be great, yeah. So if you've got some time tomorrow morning, come and join us. You can sign up still. I'll pop the link into the chat very shortly, but there's still a few spaces. It's a maximum of 1,000, and I know we're well over 800 plus now. So we will have all seats. I'm not going to say sold, because it's free to attend, and don't have to be a member. You can be any business. Just sign yourself up. Come along and join us and enjoy the fun and get networking as well, because that's what it's all about, meeting other businesses from around the country and probably beyond, because I know we get people joining us from other parts of the world as well. Nick, we're going to take a quick break, and after that, when we get back, we're going to bring our first guest in, and we're going to find out a little bit more how they're helping innovation in a digital world. We're back straight after this. So good morning and welcome back. If you're just joining us with your bowl of cornflakes, your slice of toast and your cup of coffee, welcome to the Business Breakfast Show with myself, David Bell, and my co-host, as always, sitting at my side, Mr. Nick Luby. Our first guest is waiting very patiently. We're going to bring him on in a second. But if you've got any comments about digital innovation, you can pop them into the chat. Let us know if you've got any comments about business. If you want to shout out, let us know who you are, where you are, what you do and why you do it. And we will put your name up in neon lights on the screen and tell everyone a little bit more about you. And if you're interested in coming on and join us on the show one morning and tell us a little bit more about your business and some of the crazy things that you've done and some of the mistakes that you've made. You can reach out to us by going to the website, chatboxproductions.com, or you can drop us an email at hello@chatboxproductions.com. Plugs done. So yeah, get commenting, guys. But let's welcome our first guest onto the show. Been waiting very patiently. I've been communicating over the past few weeks, finding out a little bit more about this individual, but please welcome onto the show this morning, joining us for his first debut on the chat show, is Abhishek Nag from Embarkingonvoyage Digital Solutions. Good morning and welcome. We just need you to click the unmute button. We could do it for you, but we'll let you click away. There we go.
Hey, thank you very much, David and Nick, for welcoming me. It's a grand morning. I hope. I just heard in the backstage, it's a chilly morning in the United Kingdom, right? And I see you have been talking a lot about strikes, the public transport strikes, and how it's disrupting the real life on a day-to-day basis. And glad to hear your thoughts on how digital, disruption has been made in day-to-day life of the people, right from a traditional background to this modern age business. Very glad to be part of this discussion today morning.
Yeah, no, it's great.
It's a really good point, actually. Love, before we get into the conversation, what does it look like the other way around, right? Has your business, your traditional business, been disrupted by the digital revolution? And it's a two-way street. Okay, innovation, brilliant from a digital perspective, but also digital disruption. Think, my business is falling apart because everyone's gone digital. Brilliant. I'll hand over to you, David. You get the question started. I've got lots of things that I want to ask, but over to you, my friend.
Thank you. I suppose the first question we should ask you is, tell us a bit more about you, who you are, what it is that you do, and what challenges you are solving and what solutions you are providing in this wonderful world that we find ourselves living in.
Great. Thanks, David. My name is Abhishek Nag. I'm the promoter and the Chief Executive Officer of Embarkingonvoyage Digital. While you guys were discussing about the disruption, let me tell you a brief history. I don't want to speak about myself. So I have been in the industry for about 16 years. But the birth of my company has taken place when it was COVID-19, just phase one, when every country declared the first global lockdown, right? And, it was a very different situation. I'm the first generation entrepreneur. And before starting my own venture, I was in a job, I was earning very handsome amount every month over month. And it so happened the day the lockdown was announced and the next night I said, my wife, you know what, I want to leave my well-to-do job and I want to start something of my own because now I think I'm in a position where I can give back to the society. And people become crazy, all my well-wishers start, we have a group in the WhatsApp. They came to know what's happening. They called me. I said, you've gone crazy. There are mass layoffs happening in the industry. And I said, you know what? Now this is the time I'll create more employment. I know where I have to do. So that's where the Embarkingonvoyage started, very in the initial days. So we started about 2 years back. We just completed our second foundation anniversary on 18th of November. And I'm very delighted to let you know when we operationally came into existence, in 3 days, the first contract of $250,000 we already signed in. Because, the way industries were operating before pre-COVID and during the COVID and post-COVID will always be a different. And I knew the importance of the success when you work for a digital project. It is how well you are able to relate the digital vision of your client, right? If you ask me, how well do you sense technology? I'll say that's just one small piece. We shouldn't be focusing on technology. The most important thing is what is the purpose? Now, every product that we do, every assignment we do have a different purpose altogether, right? When I speak of travel, when we do digital transformation in travel, we look for better customer experience, right? Better customer experience in the services, better customer experience in terms of the travel arrangement. When we talk of the fintech, we look for better person experience in terms of the payment side, right? When we get onto the healthcare side, we look for a better experience in terms of health data. When I'm visiting any GP, do my GP have sufficient data about my past medical records, right? So that's what the fundamentals I always had in my mind. And that's where we got into Embarking on Voyage. And if you see the name Embarking on Voyage, so I did a research, why should I get onto this? So embarking is setting out on a journey, and voyage itself is a journey, right, for a differentiated experience. That's how we got into this. So we started with 2 people. At the moment, we are more than 50 people in a short span. Year on year, we have grown over 800%. That's where, in a nutshell, about the organization, what we do. We now have been working with many clients from the travel side. We have few clients from the fintech. We do have some of the clients from the healthcare. Now, the second part, what essentially the kind of work, what digital disruption we are bringing, it's wide probably, right? So for some of the clients, we are completely redefining their travel experience, their custom travel experience, or the hiking experience, right? Because, earlier it used to be a family travel for everyone. Let's go back to our childhood, right? We used to go on a summer holidays with parents, with relatives and everybody. But now it has just become different, right? So now we see our kids going with their friends for hiking and all. I mean, I never knew hiking as a concept, right? And they love to explore different places with people who are not known to them, because they come to see a cultural change, right? They adopt culture, different culture. It's absolutely different world. So that's one purpose through digitally, how we are disrupting that side of the experience of individual on the travel. The second side is when it comes to the fintech. Now, children are so smart. Now, why I'm pressurizing or insisting the word children or the Generation Z, it is because you all will agree 80% of the world population is with the Generation Z, who are more on Instagram rather than on LinkedIn, right? And it is very important, how seamlessly you are able to give this particular set of generation the experience of a seamless payment, of a seamless payment facility. Because these are the people who would be using 99% of the modern digital applications, right? So that's side of the fintech. Obviously, on the healthcare, people are so well collaborated. Earlier we used to visit to doctors. Now you see your kid just fall sick. They do all the Googling themselves, and then they come onto an application saying, hey, let me fit my data, and I get all my medical report in one place, and they come to know what the kind of medicine they are looking for. These applications are even well tightly integrated with the pharmacist. So
this blowing my mind, right? Because you started your business very not much earlier than we started Chatbox, right? And we thought we were innovating in a digital way. I want to just skip back to the moment where you thought, right, I'm going to leave my fairly comfy job, and had to tell your wife, say, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave my job, and I'm going to follow my vision. I'd love to be part of that WhatsApp group. As an entrepreneur, you're going to get everyone who's ever been with an entrepreneurial idea, right, has had some sort of kickback from people that have got your best interests at heart. I don't want you to be, to struggle, but don't fully understand that vision and that dream. So I'm delighted to hear that it's going incredibly well. What other than just to excite your WhatsApp group, what was the motivation behind leaving something that's comfortable and then following this voyage that you and the company are now on? What was that kick?
So Nick, I have always done whatever I wanted to do with a purpose, right? And I have always believed, just 10% of the global population have the ability or owns the, competence is something that everybody carries, right? Be it the most learned scholar to the bottom line, right? It's an individual ability to capitalize competence for the betterment of others. I have always been doing this kind of, exercises since 2014. So let me give you some more capture. Probably that would give you a more insight as to what and how I came to this entrepreneurship. I had been working for an IT company for about 13 years, and I joined them at a very bottom level. And when I stepped out, I was an executive vice president. I was handling I was looking for the European operations. And after 14 years, I decided to move out, because it's like one comfort zone. And I really wanted to pursue some of the other areas, want to see how the culture works, how market operates. And I happened to join them. So it was 2019, around December, I joined them. And it so happened the Christmas time hit in, and it was my daughter's birthday, and my daughter took me and we went to Dubai to celebrate her birthday. And she was that time just about seventh. She was turning 7. And I remember during my flight, my daughter said, "Hey, can we go to one more country?" I said, "I have some business meeting. I really cannot go, but next time I go." And she was quiet for some time, and she said, "Daddy, you bring people business for these people, and I see you are giving 20 hours of your 20 out of 24 hours. You give 20 hours a day to your job. I think you are more competent to bring up your own company." And that was it. Kind of. What did you say?
That was the magic moment. That was the
magic moment.
7.
Yep. Point. Yeah, amazing. Yes. And I think we all have those eureka moments. I was with a group yesterday, and I always refer, for those that can cast your mind back to the Future, the film. Dr. Emmett Brown was standing on the system, hanging a picture. He slipped, he banged his head, and he woke up and come up with a flux capacitor. I know that's make believe, but we all has these moments in our life where it's a changing part of what we do, how we do it. In your case, it was your daughter that said something that sparked and inspired you. And I think that we all come across that at some point. We're all finding and seeing and spotting the opportunities. So taking your business, you've left this, really great job. You really were enjoying that job. As Debbie's put there, what a clever girl. She made you stay.
She's just turning 10. In fact, she very clearly said to me, "I asked, what do you want to do in life?" She said, "I don't want to be an employee anymore." She already registered her own venture. She wants to be in the retail side. She believes in D2C. She registered her company. Probably I'll transfer that as a gift when she turns 18, because she's not allowed to do business. We said you focus to your studies at this point of time, because that's the basic.
Wow, yeah. Inspiration comes both ways. Obviously, as a father, you're inspiring your daughter. She will look up and admire what you've done and what you're doing. But no doubt, and I know this because I have a younger son and daughter as well, and they both inspire me back the other way. The things that they say, like what happened to you. So I think it's really important we take on board what others see. But from your own journey, we ask all our guests to kind of tell us a little bit about themselves. But your words that you come from a humble beginnings. You've kind of worked through and built, now a very successful business and organization. Just tell us, that transitional point, from your humble beginnings to where you are now, and how you view that and what that might look like for the future for you as well.
David, whatever in life you do, you need to have a very well-defined and very clear purpose, right? And if the purpose is very clear, very defined, you will always meet the right people to take you to that edge of success. People speak about success. People speak about the time. How have you matured? If you ask me honestly, I really do not have a concrete answer. But yes, one thing that I can say before getting onto this entrepreneurship, for about 6 years, I was actually doing headhunting in my mind very passively, because I knew, what happened was, I was talking to several people in the market. And if you see, right, in the world of IT, everybody must have tried India one way or the other, right? And 99% of the people failed. It's easy to speak success, but it's very difficult to say why you failed. I failed myself. I even tried Eastern Europe. I went to Nashor for one of our product, right, which failed miserably. So when I was doing this, I understood the need to get the right people who would actually be able to integrate very tightly with the client's expectation in terms of the vision, right? Mm-hmm. So when we started, this is what the first thing I did. I said the first set of key, every organization have 5 to 6 pillars. the first pillar is sales, the second pillar is marketing, the third pillar is HR, the fourth pillar is your delivery, right? Fifth is finance, obviously. And I knew I need strong 5 pillars. So I worked very hard. I was looking who are these people who bring this similar mindset, because we don't work to make profit. Definitely, when you're working, you will definitely make profit, else you won't run an organization. But we are working for a better society.
Mm-hmm.
We are in the process of founding EOV Foundation, wherein our goal is to give access, quality education, and work training to the underprivileged children and to the children of sex workers. Because in this society, everybody have a fair right to have a better way of life, right? And this is the only way how I personally feel, and my team actually accepted this is the best way to give back to society.
That's a serious purpose, right? I'm wondering, right? And this is a question to our lovely audience, really, how clear our purpose is. What are we looking to achieve? Now, David and I, when we launched Chatbox, the whole point of Chatbox was to spark this type of conversation. You know, that the whole show is, you know, it's a home for conversations to start and to spread, and that will continue. Similarly, you know, it was never designed to make a profit. It was designed to do good work. And at some point, the business needs to turn over a profit so you can keep going and you can keep the foundation alive.
But that cannot be your sole purpose. You have to always have a very bigger purpose, right? I mean, definitely, if you run a business, it's always meant for a profit. You won't do any business without a profit, right? Without even 1% of profit. But what would we do out of that profit? How much money an individual needs to run his or her life? Come on, right? So I have a very beautiful, I don't know how many of you follow karma and yoga. So I follow an Indian spiritual leader called Sadhguru, right? So it's a very beautiful word. He says, you know, every word in this world, they come without a single dress. You are just one naked, right? And when you leave this world, so when you're on your way to your heaven, you again go in that same one piece, right? You really don't wear your fancy. So I mean, what would we do? So it's better we do it for the people. And in a way, it's a good way of creating employment in an economy, right? When people are talking of recession, economic correction, we are saying, okay, this is a wonderful time. Let's break the right people on the right side of the tables, and let us utilize, let us make them work for a better future. Because today is something that I know, how will I live, right? I know how I'm going to spend the rest of my day. But am I able to make tomorrow better for somebody? What would make me successful as a leader, right? I'm not bothered.
Yeah, and let's be honest, look, businesses need to make a profit, or if it's even a charity, it makes a surplus and that gets reinvested, or if it's a not-for-profit, it's making that surplus, because you've got to be able to wash your hands and wipe your face, i.e. keep the wheels in motion in your business. But I always say, follow the dream and the money will come finding you. If you've got that vision,
Absolutely.
if you've got that passion, and, Nick and I, as Nick said, we set up Chatbox. It wasn't about the money. Actually, we didn't even talk about the money. This was a separate business. Nick and I have our own business. We said we wanted to do something to connect the business community, to get people sharing, get people caring, get people, communicating better during a time where it was tough for so many small businesses or businesses on a global scale. And the outcome has been, fantastic. We've had wonderful guests like yourself come here and join us and share their stories, and very inspirational and motivational. But, the hard truth is at some point we will need to turn that into a profit to grow it, to develop it, because we've got plans that we want to move it forwards. And I think digital innovation for us has allowed us to do that. But we know it's not just a digital world. We've got plans. We've mentioned this before, so I'm not breaking any news here, but we've got plans to take it on the road and take it into the real world environments and have people in the room communicating, sharing, but that has a cost to do that. So I love your, philosophy around it, your big plans, how to make lives better for others. We are getting down to the point where we're running out of time. That clock always beats us. Firstly, we always ask our guests coming on the show for their top business tip. You've already given us a few throughout the last 20 minutes or so, but what would be your top business tip? And for those that don't know, Nick and I are compiling all our top business tips into our Top of the Tips book, which will be launched not too long from now, but in the new year. And you never know, you might be one of the stars of our 100 top tips in our first edition. So what would be a top tip that you'd share with your younger self, if you could go back in time and advise your younger self, or maybe you'd advise to other business owners out there? What would one thing, if you could share one, you've probably got 101, but one thing.
Yeah, we should ask your daughter as well for her top tip.
Okay, for me, it would be persistence. One thing one should always see, clarity everybody has. Persistent is something I always feel people at times they give up. I would always say persistent is that one thing which has always worked for me, which would always work for everyone in the world. And be optimistic. You have to be positive. As a leader, as a leader, it's you have the top. People are looking at you, right? You really cannot say, hey, what, this won't work, that won't work. Let's try this. And can I say the last one? Probably that would be easy for me, and which is very close to me as well, along with persistent, is always try to accommodate new innovation in your business. Let your subordinates speak. Reward for any new mistakes they make. That make your workplace absolutely different. It would be fun. Every new mistakes you make is a wonderful opportunity, right? It's an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to bring some innovative thoughts.
Yeah,
and
I'm writing it all down.
Smoking, yeah. You never know; they could be in our Top of the Tips book. And then finally, if people want to find out more about what you do, how you might be able to help them, what's the best way to get in touch? How can they reach out to you? I think this might help you a little bit. I assume this is the best place to send people.
That's the website. But should there be anything when somebody wanted to reach me out, I am always available. You can connect me on LinkedIn, and somebody can, people can also write me. It's my first name dot last name. Or you can type info@embarkingonvoyage.com.
Brilliant. There we go. So if you want to find out more how Embarking on Voyage as an organization can help you, or just have a conversation and pick up on maybe some of the stuff that's been mentioned in the show, you can reach out and have that chat on a one-to-one virtually, probably. Maybe could be face-to-face, depending on where you are in the world.
So I'm coming to UK in the month of March. On 18th of March till the end of March, I will be in UK, and I will be more than happy. Just drop me a line. I will be happy to catch you over a cup of coffee or something. We can talk more.
Yeah, sounds good. Look us up when you're over here. You never know. We'll grab that cup of coffee with you.
Let's do this.
Great to see you in the real world, in the real flesh, face to face. But thank you so much for coming on the show this morning, sharing some of your top tips, a little bit about your background, your journey, your business. It's been great having you here this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Nick. I wish you all the best. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas, and lots of best wishes on your book. Just send me the link when they're ready. I'll put my thoughts over.
Fantastic.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot. The same to you. Bye-bye. Well, Nick, great conversation.
Awesome, mate. Awesome. And I was writing everything down as you know I do. The accommodate innovation, right, is really striking a chord. Okay, you know me. I'm analog Nick, right, or analog Ant to your digital Dave. But I get it, right? I get that me and the business and what I'm trying to achieve needs to evolve. Gen Z are my future audience, and I took the brave step, not really a brave step. I got myself on TikTok, as you know. So anyone who wants human-centric communication tips, check out the Human Communicator on TikTok. It's an interesting format. I'm out of my comfort zone, that's for sure, but it's resonating. It's resonating. I'm getting good feedback. People are appreciating the stuff. But I never thought, when I was doing workshops, training people out body language and how to communicate face to face like a human really well, I never thought that my business would need to get itself on something like TikTok. It's a right journey.
Yeah, and I know you're doing it as a pilot as well to see how well that communication works. I know lots of people use TikTok, but we're thinking, how can we utilize it for the Business Breakfast Show, for Chatbox? So Nick's running the pilot and seems to be going pretty well so far, Nick. And you never know, we might be TikToking as, two old white men on TikTok at some point. So watch out for that. It's coming to a screen near you or a device near you in the new year.
Look out, mate. Look out. It's a different world.
Absolutely. Talking about innovation, I'm in Milton Keynes. I stayed up here last night, and the reason we come up here is that we went to Red Bull. We had a fantastic night, me and my wife, who is here with me, and we went off to Red Bull, which, if anyone's into Formula One, which I'm sure there's a number of people out there that do follow the Formula One season, the news and what's happening, we got the pleasure to go along to Red Bull. Here we are last night with some of the award-winning championship cars in the background. They are all Max Verstappen. So if you're a Max Verstappen fan, fantastic. And if you're not, you won't appreciate that picture at all. Now, I'm a big Red Bull fan. I've got to be careful here because I'm a big Lewis Hamilton supporter, just to put that out there. I didn't shout that out too loud last night. But I'm a big Red Bull fan because Red Bull used to be one of my clients. So I used to actually service them, and we used to provide them with hardware and equipment and stuff like that. And one of the reasons I still have that connection to Red Bull, hence why we went there last night. I like Max. I think he's a great driver, but just to be clear to our UK listeners and those that are Hamilton fans, so I don't get any hate mail, I'm a Hamilton fan through and through. I'd like to see Hamilton in a Red Bull. That would be really cool. That would be kind of a wish. But we did have the pleasure of meeting David Coulthard and Christian Horner. Here we are, getting our grin and grip there. My wife and myself and the two gentlemen we met last night had a grin and a grip and a quick conversation with them. And then we watched the whole evening unfold, which was a Q&A. Very interesting. Lots of stuff about innovation, how the car's innovated, how the business has changed from 400 people to over 1,200 employees now, how they're now producing their own engine under Red Bull terrain and stuff like that. So really, really interesting conversations and thoroughly enjoyable. So that's why I'm here in Milton Keynes, but it was all around innovation.
Absolutely, and there's a striking resemblance between you and Mr. Coulthard, mate. I want to put that picture back up, mate. Go on, put that picture back up. Go on, let's see if our audience can tell the difference, right? Which one is Mr. Bell? Which one is Mr. Coulthard?
It's a little bit taller and probably a little bit fitter than I am, but yeah, the hair does have a resemblance, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're twins for sure. Yeah, but yeah, digital innovation, and I imagine they did digital innovation. They've probably thrown quite a lot of investment at it, but that's an industry where you need to innovate to win. Our businesses, okay, I guess our digital innovation aspirations will be a little bit perhaps lower, but still great shifts in the way you think about your business. If you think, okay, how does it exist in a digital space? And it requires real courage to shift from what is traditionally your skill set into something new. Our lovely guest seems to have courage aplenty, so off he goes and gets it done. For me, I think it's taking that journey is going to be a longer process.
Yeah. Breaking news, Nick. Following on from our show last week. Once we were talking all about scams and stuff like that, guess what? I'm now a scam champion. I signed up, I did the training, and I'm just like you. I wanted to be just like Nick, a scam champion. So I went through the training course one evening this week, and I've been approved, which is fantastic news. So I've gone through and done my due diligence and ticked all the right boxes and got all my questions right, which is brilliant.
Brilliant stuff. So you are now able to be much, much better educated to spot potential scams. So that's another in the increasing numbers of friends against scams. Brilliant. If you're not on that list, ladies and gents, check out Google Friends Against Scams and sign up. Do the online training and do yourself and everybody you care about a favor. And let's do our best to try and minimize those horrendous scams out there. Let's spot them and do something about it. Good work, mate. Good work. Good work. I tell you what's going on in my world. I've been in Cardiff recently. Cardiff, lovely. You know, they're ready for Christmas up in Cardiff. £7.50 for a pint of lager in the hotel in Cardiff. Right? That can't carry on like that, can it? You can't have a big night out and every pint costs you £7.50. That cannot be our future.
Yeah.
Also, this week, if you want a copy of Modern Zombies, then get yourself over to the Footprint Digital LinkedIn site and follow their instructions. There's a host of lovely books being given away. I'm on that list. Christmas is coming, mate. You know, it's the world's filling up with cheer if you can get where you need to go.
Yeah, Christmas has come early. Fantastic. But I suppose that does beg the question is what people are planning for Christmas. Because we do have a Christmas show that's coming up later this month. So watch out for that, where we're going to bring in lots of friends of the show back on and celebrating the fantastic year that we've had. And we've got the amazing Jacob Reddy coming on here and playing some of his new releases as well. And both you and I are going to see Jacob. We've never met him face to face, only in the virtual world. Lots of virtual conversations and meetings. And he's been supporting our StreamAid campaign as well, which is on our other channels. If you want to find out more about that, you can go to streamaid.com and find out more about what we've been doing, or streamaidlive.com, and find out more about what we've been doing in another capacity. But we've got great friends joining us on here for our grand finale Christmas celebrations. So watch out for that. That's just before Christmas, 3 days before Christmas.
Yep, very exciting, mate. Very exciting. Also exciting. What about Chatbox Champion of the Week this week?
Oh, is it that time?
It is. It's that time of the week, mate. What do you reckon?
Well, let's do this week's Chatbox Champion of the Week. Now, as you know, every week we are picking our Chatbox Champion of the Week for something that they've done that stood out from the crowd. It's impressed us, it's motivated, inspired others. And we've been going through a list of people we feel have made a difference. So this week, we have chosen our Chatbox Champion of the Week. And this week, it is...
Yay! It's my mum. It's my mum. Our biggest, possibly biggest fan. Hardly ever missed a show. Always has commentary after the show. Absolutely fascinated by the show and the guests. That's what you need, isn't it? That's the sort of support you need. Happy birthday, mum, and congratulations on being Chatbox Champion of the Week.
Yes, congratulations and happy birthday as well. Thoroughly deserved. A raving fan of the show. I know he's always watching the show and always commenting and providing feedback about how great we are or things that we could do better. So thank you for your support. And thank you actually to everyone that supports our shows. It's great to have you joining us, watching us. We know sometimes you can't always watch us live. We get that feedback that, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock for some, it's a busy morning, getting up, getting ready for work, sorting the children out, maybe, feeding the dog, taking it for a walk or whatever it's going to be. But we know lots of people tune in afterwards and watch snippets of the show. So wherever you are watching this, whenever you're watching it, thank you very much for all your loyal supports over, we're approaching 2 years, Nick, 2 years of Chatbox in 2023. So yeah, just thank you to everybody. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your top tips. And don't forget, that book's coming next year. If you've got a top tip that you want to share, possibly get into our book, then just drop us an email with what your top tip is. You can do that by sending it to hello@chatboxproductions.com. Just make sure you tell us what your top tip is and how it's helped you in your life or in your business.
Fantastic, mate. And if you'd like to come on the show, share your journey, share your story, and give of your experience and your knowledge, get in touch, let us know, check us out on LinkedIn or email us, and the chances are we'll get you on the show, we'll have a good conversation at the home of conversation. That is the Chatbox Business Breakfast Show.
There we go. We're going to cut it short this week because I'm going to jump in the car and head my way back down the M1 and M25 and head back home. It's been great as always, Nick, from me here in Milton Keynes live, and Nick sitting in cold and frosty Essex. Well, yeah, we're back next week, same time, same place, 8 o'clock. It's goodbye from me.
And cheerio from me.